We are live. Well, that was quick. Hey, so good afternoon, I guess. What time? What time? Yeah, it's not even 12 yet, so I'm a little early. So I'll stall for people who are coming 12. And okay, here I am. Yes. So welcome. Let's go live with Jack Kelly. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm excited. Hey, we got another great show talking about the future of work. Now, when I started recruiting a long time ago, years ago, over 20, talk about 20, almost 25 years, I know what you're thinking. Yeah, I was like in elementary school when I started recruiting, right? You're saying, how can you possibly be recruiting that, long when you're so young and dynamic? Yeah. So I mean, recruiting a long time. And when I first started recruiting, if I had a resume and I share that resume and the person maybe was out there, his or her job for a year, 2 years, or 3 years, my boss would say, like, what are you doing? You get that resume out of here. That person doesn't have any stability. They've moved. They've only been there 3 years or 4 years. And I was thinking, as a young recruit, well, what difference does that make? But it was much different. Back then, it was a big deal. You had to be at a company and stay at a company for a long period of time. Think about your parents or your grandparents. They would go to a company, stay there probably their whole career, or maybe they'd be at two companies. Now, fast forward, you're going to have 2, 3, 4, 5 careers over your lifetime. And with each career, you probably have 2 or 3 different jobs. Now, lately, there's this big trend of the Great Resignation. And I'm sure everybody's heard of it ad nauseum by now. The Great Resignation is basically saying so many people post-pandemic, well, I guess we're back in the pandemic with this Delta variant, that they want to reinvent themselves, pivot, go to, try different things, which is good, which is healthy. But the narrative is really almost like, say F you to your boss and get out of there, and I'm gone. I'm leaving. Goodbye. We've all seen signs from like Burger King. We all quit. You'll see postings where people are telling off their bosses, we're out of here. Heck with you. Now, that all sounds great in the moment where you feel that little bit of victory. I'm out of here. But what I'd like to talk about today is that the future of work is most likely you're going to switch jobs a lot. It's become very commonplace and acceptable. So as I mentioned, when I first started recruiting, if someone was there for only a year or so, it would be like, what are you doing? Now it's fine. It's more acceptable. So given that you're going to have different jobs, different careers, I want to help you to understand how you could gracefully and classily, if that's a word, tender your resignation without burning any bridges. Now you may think, well, I'll just resign. If you haven't done that, it's not an easy thing. In fact, I'd argue it's a really uncomfortable thing. So let me walk you through, because this is going to happen. I would say whether you're a Gen Z, a millennial, a Gen X, or even a baby boomer. If you haven't resigned before, or even if you have, you kind of need a refresher or some new information, what to do and how to do it. Because it's one of those things that seems easier said than done. But like a lot of things, there are pitfalls. So let's just take it for the first thing. Before you resign, don't fall into this trap of, you know what, I hate my job, I hate my boss, I'm out of here. You got to give it a lot of thought. You got to give it a lot of care, a lot of attention, really think it through. You don't want to make a rash decision. And I'll tell you why. A couple of reasons. One, if you make a rash decision, you're going to find yourself, I'm in between jobs. And let's presume for the sake of conversation that you're a white collar, professional. It's not easy finding a job, even if, you hear all this about a hot job market. Even if it's a hot job market, it's not perfect. so that when you interview, you may not have interviews right away. Now let's take the summer. Summers are usually slow. Pandemic summers even slower. There's talk about the Delta variant. Now you think about it, if there's a kind of a worry that the CDC is now recommending wearing masks indoors, do you think companies are going to be aggressively hiring people, or they're going to wait and see before we hire, let's see what's happening? Let's find out what's going on. Are we going to have a hybrid, or maybe we just have to have everyone remote now and everyone stays home? So before they hire, they want to really get the lay of the land. You follow me on that? So there's going to be these twists and turns that's not so easy. So let's say also you leave in, you just leave in a huff. When you go and interview, you have to explain that all the time. And the hiring manager is going to question your judgment. They're going to think you're impulsive. If you want to negotiate, you don't have anything to fall back on. So this isn't really about, the great resignation, but I just want to plant the seeds of before you do anything, think it through. And you may think this is crazy coming from a recruiter, because as you can imagine, I make my money if someone leaves and tries to find a new job. So this goes against my own best interest. But to me, it's important that I share all this stuff. And in large part, because of living this for so long, I kind of see the inside scoop of how it plays out. And I want to share with you so you avoid making these mistakes and pitfalls, because you might hear from the media or your friends or family or commonly held things like, hey, do X. And where I'm going to say, wait, after all these years, I've learned, don't do that at all. That's a bad thing to do. So don't leave impulsively. Think it through, decide, hey, here's the merits why I want to leave. Best is you leave if you have a job in hand. That's the best case option. Line up a job before you quit, look around, play the game, be the loyal employee, do everything the right way, make it look like you're the best, you're going to stay there forever, while covertly looking for a new job, speaking to recruiters, speaking to HR people, tapping your network. And then when you land a job, then that's fine. Then you go. Now, here's where it gets a little awkward. You have to go to your boss and say, hey, boss, hey, how you doing? You all right? Everything good? Well, we got to talk. It's almost like a relationship, It's that we have to have a talk. And then when you say that, they kind of maybe know. And even though you've been searching for a new job under covers, the odds are high that they kind of know. Not necessarily, but sometimes they get a vibe. Or maybe you confide it in a friend who kind of, one of the people who can't shut their mouths and kind of incidentally tells somebody who tells somebody and it gets around. So they may know, but they may not know. You set up a meeting with your boss. You set up a meeting. And during this meeting, it's like you just want to rip off the Band-Aid. And when I mean rip off the Band-Aid, it's going to be uncomfortable, because now picture this. You're sitting across the table from your boss, soon to be former boss. And if you're a nice person, you don't want to hurt his or her feelings. You don't want to make them feel bad. You don't want to use this as a time to just dump everything that you've been angry about and upset about, because it's not the classy way to go. So you tell the person, hey, and you could kind of use this, you could plagiarize everything I'm saying here. It's okay. So what you want to do is say something to the effect of, hey, boss, I'd just like to let you know I received an offer, I accepted it, and I'd like to tender my resignation. The boss is probably going to be a little perturbed. What's running through his or her mind now is a whole bunch of different things. That SOB, I treated him so well, and now you're leaving me, and you're leaving me in the summer when I have a vacation planned. Now I got to go hire someone new. It's going to take a long time. We're tight in terms of finances. We may not have the budget to replace you. That's going through his or her mind. Doesn't make that a bad person. They're just looking at their own self-interest. Then, so what you want to do is make sure that you're sensitive to that. So you say, hey, boss, I'll gladly give, 2 weeks. If you need me to help out, I'll stay a little longer. Plus, Once I go to the new company, my phone is always there for you. If you ever have any questions, need any help, you need to know where a file is, call me anytime. I want to make sure that there's an orderly transition and everything works well for you. So what does that achieve? It calms the person down. So they're like, okay, you know what? They're not leaving tomorrow. I got 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, maybe even 4 weeks. That might be enough to get the search started, maybe find somebody, make sure we get everything that Jack worked on to hand over. So now that person's relaxing. Add to this, because then they're going to start thinking, huh, how long has this been going on? Again, kind of similar to a relationship. Has he been looking this whole time? So every time I thought we had this nice conversation and we talked about whatever, never brought it up. So there's a little resentment brewing. So here's what you say. You say something to the fact, and maybe this is accurate, maybe it's not, everyone's going to have their own, specific things. But you say something to the effect of, hey, boss, I wasn't actively looking. I really appreciate everything you've done for me over the years. I've learned so much. I can't tell you how much my career progressed under your tutelage. I look at you as a mentor, as a friend, as someone I've learned from, and I'm so appreciative. I've learned so much, and I would not be where I am if it wasn't for you. So I just want to say thank you so much. And I haven't been actively looking. What happened is someone knew of me, suggested that the company get in contact. I had a quick conversation because I heard of the company by a couple degrees of separation. I know the person that they were talking about who's doing the hiring. So I thought, yeah, conversation. It's a pandemic time. I've been home, kind of bored. Why not take a call? And before you know it, that call went to a couple more Zoom calls. And then in just quick succession, before you know it, they gave me an offer. And it was a great offer. So I haven't been going behind your back looking. This thing kind of fell into my lap. So I hope you appreciate that. And I hope you're happy for me, because it has nothing to do with you, the company. I love it. I cherish all the time here. I just hope that you wish me luck. And as I mentioned, I'll be there for you to help you as you're trying to find a replacement, as you're trying to see whatever things have to get done or whatever information I have that I could kind of keep in touch with you. I'll do that. So by doing that, what happens is that you make the boss feel comfortable. You're not running out the door. You're not doing that rage quit. You're not doing this dramatic, I'm out of here. No, you want to do it with style, with dignity. Now, I know a lot of you who are watching this are saying, I can't do that because I'm really ticked off at my boss. I hate my company. I hate this. It's true, but you got to play the game. It's unfortunate to say that, but that's how things are. Life, work, a lot of it is games. And we can pretend it's not, but it is. So if you don't play the game, and what I mean by don't play in the game is that you use this as a way to just strike back. I'm leaving because you did this and you did that and this happened. And, I can't wait to get out of here. And then you kind of point to your coworkers and you say how bad some of your coworkers are. You point to the different managers and say how bad they are. And you get it all. You want to get it off your chest, and then you feel like great. And you tell your family friends, you should have seen me. I really let them have it. But what good is that going to do? You'll feel good for a moment or two. But then what happens? What happens when you go for another job, or even for this new job, and they ask for a reference? Now, a lot of companies, when you ask for reference now, because everyone's afraid of litigation risks, they'll just get the start and end dates. But you want people to do more than that. You want people to say, and I do this all the time, even if they call for just start dates, I would say, hey, Richard was fantastic. He was great. Here's what he did. Here's his accomplishments. And I give kind of, even if they didn't ask for reference, I'd gladly give it to, because I feel strongly about a person and I want them to succeed. I want them going into the new company for them to say, wow, that was very gracious of Jack to say that. Person must have been really good. And boy, so we're lucky that we found this person. So the key is you want to play that game. You want to have that. So when they ask for a reference down the road, you don't have to worry like, oh no, I can't use this company as a reference because I kind of just, I ended it really badly. So you're cutting off your nose to spite your face. There's no need for that. So you want to make it that when you leave, you could have them as a reference. They're going to say really good things about you. You're going to keep a relationship. And as I said at the beginning of the conversation, throughout your career, you're going to have a lot of different jobs. That seems the way the future is going. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong or it should be. The way things are accelerated with technology. Let's take a place like New York, where jobs are being sent to other low-cost cities, states, countries. Things move really quickly. So the odds are you're going to have a few jobs, and you might run into the same people at the company you left with the new company, or the new company knows people at the old company. And why do you want to risk of people talking badly about you in the way you handle leaving? The same holds true when you have an HR exit interview. This doesn't happen all the time, but if they call you in and it says HR wants to talk to you, play the game once again. Don't fall into the trap. They may goad you to find out. They may go to see, so what's going on there? You're the third person who left. Can you tell us more? How was your manager? How did he manage you? Was he okay? Did he say anything, do anything? Because we've heard some things. How about the coworkers, this coworker, that coworker? What about these coworkers? Nope. I enjoyed my time here. I've learned so much. This has been a great work experience. I would never trade it for anything. I've learned so much. I'm so grateful and appreciative of everything and all the time and effort my manager gave to me. My coworkers were fantastic. I hope to keep in touch with everybody for the rest of my career. So don't fall into that where they're kind of digging for information. And I'm not even saying they're bad people for digging. That's their job. They should do that. They should dig for that because you want to find out. Like, I don't know if you've seen recently, like with Activision, I don't know enough about it, so don't quote me on this, could be correct. It seems that I'm noticing on Twitter where people say, hey, there were just some really inappropriate activities going on. So it does make sense for companies to for the HR to really flesh out to say, hey, is there something that we should be aware of? So they have a legit reason to do it, but it's so easy. It's so easy, especially if you're a little discouraged, a little unhappy. You feel maybe you didn't get the raises you should, the promotions you should, the bonuses. It's very easy then to kind of lash out. So easy, so easy. You got to be strong, be polite, be professional, because you're playing the long game. The long game is your career might go another 10, 20, 30, 40 years. And you don't want to make enemies for the sake of making enemies. It's just not worth it. It's not worth it. You don't have to worry. You don't want to have to worry. It's like, oh no, Bob from accounting in my old place is now coming here. And you got to worry, like he's going to say, oh, that guy, Jack, when he left, you got to hear what he said. You just want people to say good things about you. Second part, part number 2, the counteroffer. This is something you have to watch out for. Let's take now. We're probably July, I have no idea what it is, the 28th. Oh my God, it's the 20th. I'm just looking down my computer at the time, the 28th. So your manager is going to think, as I mentioned before, oh my gosh, Jack's leaving. Excuse me, it's the end of July. We're pretty much in August. Oh, I got a vacation. My kids are excited about this vacation to Disney. Then you start to think about who else in the office is going away on vacation. You're like, now I gotta start recruiting. I don't want to recruit. And We're dealing with this new CDC guidelines, wear masks, so companies aren't sure what to do. They might not even have the job rec open. They may say if Jack leaves, there's no replacing Jack because they have to worry about, wait, we were all ready to do a hybrid in the office 3 days a week, at home 2 days a week. Now, we don't know, might be all remote. And what do you think companies are going to do when there's uncertainty? It's easier not to hire. So now your manager's freaking out. What if we can't hire? What if we can't hire someone as good as Jack? What if we have to hire, but now we have to pay more money? We don't have the budget. Those thoughts are all going through. So you'll probably hear, if you're from a C plus and higher, you're going to then hear the, hey, Jack, what can we do to make you stay? We love you. I can't, I'm shocked that you're leaving. You'll hear stuff. It's totally like a relationship breaking up. I can't believe you're leaving. I thought we had something special. We had big plans for you. We were talking about a promotion and a raise, and we were going to give you a huge bonus, and you're going to get your own office and a new title. Now you're thinking, is this for real? It's like, playing cards. Are they bluffing or is it real? Do they really feel that way? And then you start thinking, well, if you felt this way, why are you telling me now, as I'm tendering my resignation, instead of telling me 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago? You had plenty of time to let me know how awesome I was and to show it in terms of the compensation, in terms of raises, bonuses, titles, but now you're doing it. So they're going to kind of put that pressure on. Then they say, okay, can I ask you, just think about it. Don't make any decisions yet. Can you just hold off? Can you just give me a day or two? And then it's, once again, it's very easy to say, all right, but here's what happens. If you say, all right, they're going to go to the big bosses and they're going to tell their big bosses, hey, we can't lose Jack. He's really underpaid. And we had a bargain with him. So if we go out to the market to find someone new, we're going to have to pay another 30 grand. And with everything going on, can we even afford that? Well, can we even replace him? So what do we do? Then the boss will say, why would he leave? I don't get it. We're so awesome. We're so great. Well, in fact, let him leave. Heck with him. And then the other boss will say, hey, let's do this. It's almost, it's half year. We're going to give probably a raise in January and the bonus. Let's just give it to him now. And then, yeah, I'll take it. So they're going to try. You like those really bad impressions? So what'll happen is this, they're going to put that pressure on because they realize not so much because they love you, and they actually really may, but because they feel, what are the alternatives? If you have to go out and recruit for 3 to 6 months, that's not a lot of fun. It costs a lot of time and using a recruiter, a lot of money. It could be that they can't replace because they don't have the budget. Or it's just easier to throw some money and say, here you go. They offered you 200,000, we'll give you 210,000 because they'll figure they are planning a little bit, you're probably going to get an increase anyway and a bonus increase anyway. So we'll give it now. And then what happens? You might think, well, all right, well, you know what? They did raise my base and they, promised me this, that, the other thing. Yeah. Here's the reality. Could they honor all their agreements? Yes. Have people in the past honored those agreements and said, hey, yeah, we'll give you more. And we're really sorry. We did have plans. And now here's your new title. Here's your new this, that, the other. Can that happen? Yeah. Does it happen often? Not so much. What happens more often than not is this. If you stay and take the counteroffer, they'll be all chummy with you for the first week or two. Hey, Jack, how you doing? Hey, you want to go for a beer? Hey, Jack, we'll get Starbucks. You want me to pick you up a coffee? Yeah, and you like it you like the Frappuccino with caramel? No, I don't. I don't drink Starbucks. I drink Dunkin' Donuts. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's what I meant. Dunkin' Donuts, sure. So they're going to try to be your buddy for a while because they just want to make sure you stay. that you don't have a second doubt, and then you just leave anyway. So they're going to be really nice. Time goes by, right? Week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks go by. Now everything goes back to where it was. No promotion, no raise, no nothing. But what happens is they start looking at you as a mercenary. Their whole mindset is going to shift. It's going to go from, oh, please stay, please, 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 please stay, please, 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 don't go, don't go, don't go, don't go, don't go, to, I'm thinking about it. He really put us over a barrel. That was really rude of him. He knew we were going through a tough time, and he was extorting us for, a promotion and a raise. And that doesn't sit well with me. That's really rude on his part. I mean, that's really ridiculous. We did so much for this guy, and then he hit us up for like an extra 10, 15, 20 grand. I don't know. So all of a sudden, all that goodwill, all that niceness is all over. It's done. So not only is it done, but now they have a bad taste in their mouth. Every time you might come in late, every time there's like a Zoom call that you're kind of not there right away, you leave work early, you're legitimately sick, they're going to think, is this guy looking again? What's up with him? We already gave him a raise. What the heck else does he want? So the whole mood shifts. Now you're the bad guy. And everything you do is held under a microscope. And is anybody who's worked for 2 minutes realize you don't want to be on a microscope where everything you do, they're questioning and they're wondering why. And they're always like looking, what is he up to? No. So then what happens? You start feeling the discomfort. You're like, wow, why didn't I take that job? And then maybe you even call back the company and say, hey, listen, and I've seen this happen, where they'll call the company and say, hey, listen, I took the counter. I know you suggested not to take a counter. I did. It was a bad mistake. Is the job still open? Once in a while it is, but rarely. Because by then probably they found somebody. Or they just feel uncomfortable with this whole situation, because then they're going to be scared. Is he really going to come, or is he going to stay again? I'll get another, or maybe because they'll think you're just doing this to get another counter offer. Because people do that. Believe it or not, that happens. Kind of get an offer just to go back to their bosses and get a counter offer, which is maybe another LinkedIn Live. We could talk about some of these things, games that people play. And people do that work sometimes. Some people are way better at getting jobs than they are doing their jobs. I bet you know a bunch like that, that they stay with a job like every just 1 or 2 years, because eventually they're found out that they're not really good and they move to the next one, but they're really good at selling themselves so they can get these new jobs. So what happens now is like, what do? I feel uncomfortable. I feel that they're scrutinizing my every move. They don't trust me. They don't like me. My days are numbered. I didn't get the promotion. I did get a little bit of a raise, but not everything they promised. But they talked about a bonus. I didn't realize I'll get a bonus, but it's not paid now. It's going to pay a year from now. And then I don't get the whole bonus. I get a little bit next year, a little bit the year after, and they kind of conned me. They took advantage. Now you have to scramble to leave. But when you're scrambling to leave, that's not the best time to look for a job, because you're angry, you're ticked off, you're frustrated, you're doing it under the gun. You likely won't get a recommendation from your company because you're having all these bad feelings. So the odds are you'll take the first job you get because you just want to get away. So you take that first job, and the chances are it's lower than the job you had, and far lower than the job you could have had somewhere else. So now you're taking a lesser job, you might even taking a hit in terms of compensation just to get the heck out of it. Now you're in this new job. The chances are this new job, because you jump so quickly, isn't perfect. Because think about, what are the odds if you just jump really quickly, swung at the first pitch, and you're going to hit a home run the first pitch? Could you do that? Yeah. Is it likely? Not so much. So what will happen is that you're going to kind of be at that new company, and the only thing you're going to care about is getting another job. So now you're going to look, and then when you interview another company, they're like, wait, what happened? You just started, you've only been there for like 3 months. What gives? Now, could they still hire you for that? Sure. Because you could spin it. Hey, I made a move. It wasn't what I thought it would be. And, I thought it would be doing this, but it's doing that. So I figured, let me move. Could you tell your story? Sure. but it's tougher. It's more awkward. So that counteroffer, could it work? Has it worked? Sometimes, but it's a really risky proposition. And let's be frank, if you already were thinking enough to leave, found a new job, and presumably like that new job, the odds are in your heart you really wanted to make that move. So I hope this helps giving the framework. This is kind of what I'm glad that I could do is give this kind of inside, story about how it works. Because we all know intellectually, about interviewing, how to get a job, giving notice, dealing with counteroffers intellectually, but it's different when you're in that. And I feel from placing thousands of people over the years and dealing with all sorts of iterations of how people leave and move on, that I could kind of give you some insights to avoid these pitfalls. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to be phenomenal with everything, but I think by watching these, masterclass type LinkedIn lives, where you kind of learn the inside scoop of how it works, will make it better for you to navigate your career. And particularly what I see happening, as we talked about at the beginning of this, LinkedIn Live, is that the future of work is not going to be staying with the same company year after year after year after year. It's going to be staying in a company for a while, learning, gaining contacts, building your network, then saying, okay, if there's no upward mobility, next. Then doing the same thing, kind of leveling up. Okay, let me go here. Let me learn something new, make more connections, build my network out, learn some more skills, and then kind of go on. I think that's the likelihood. I know I don't want to say for a fact, but I know in terms of Gen Zs and young millennials, absolutely, they've been doing this already. More of the young millennials, Gen Zs are just kind of, in the early 20s, just getting into the market. They've been doing this because why? They've seen what happened with their parents. They see that in 2008, the financial crisis, during the pandemic, companies just said, oh, you're fired, layoffs, goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. And they realize, wow, my parents got really the runaround. I can't trust these big companies. They see that jobs were sent all over the country, all over the world, how they try to keep pay down. So they're like, no, I'm going to go there. I'm going to be at the company for as long as it helps me. And then I'm going to move on. And I think that's part of the whole future of work. So there will be a lot more resigning, dealing with counteroffers. So I felt this makes sense to really understand how it is. I'll include my Forbes article, in the comments for this, so you can look at it. And once again, I want to apologize. As opposed to other LinkedIn's where there's a lot of dialogue back and forth with people, it's easier for me to just kind of stay on the narrative and not get distracted. So this way I don't go off on tangents. I can really kind of talk about, the things I want to talk about without losing a step. And as always, feel free to hit me up if you want to, contact me on LinkedIn, on Twitter, Facebook, to ask me questions, to have a third-party sounding board. So even as not like in a recruiter relationship or anything like that, but you just want to kind of say, hey, listen, Jack, I have an offer of theirs. You have nothing to do with it, but I just want a third-party opinion. Whatever it is, I'm here to help. So it's Jack Kelly, CEO, founder of the Compliance Search Group and Recruiter, senior contributor Forbes. I hope you find this information valuable, informative, and at least a little entertaining, so to give this advice and have a little fun doing it. So thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate all your feedback and all your comments and all your support. So Jack Kelly, let's go live. Jack Kelly, the future of work. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye.